Day 15 of the 30-day challenge, Talk on Camera. And today I want to continue talking about how the Lord brought the husband he promised to me. Okay, I took a semester off, I think at the end of my second year in college, to take up nursing assistant class and get my certification. Because at the age of 23, the following year, I will no longer be a part of my mom's health insurance. This was important to me because at that time, I really had a bad asthma. So much better now. I actually don't take any more medications. Back then, my asthma was really bad. I need to have an insurance. So I figured I'll get a certification for nursing assistant because my mom was a nursing assistant and she has a really good health insurance. And so I'll have my own health insurance as well. But in the interim, the Lord was dealing with me that I don't really need this job. I don't really need even the certification. Even though I finished the certification, I got my certification. The Lord challenged me one day on my way back to college. I was with my cousin, CB, and we're going to call him CB. We call him Charlie Brown. And the Lord said that he will provide for me, that he will take care of me. And so I said, okay, Lord, I will not go to my job. I was already called to go to my orientation Monday. And I believe this was Friday. And I said, I'm not going Monday. And I guess because the Lord also was starting to deal with me later on to change my major from nursing to music, because I was majoring in nursing for my mom's sake. But in my heart, I just felt like I really should do music. Finally, the Lord gave me the courage to change it. And I kid you not, the first semester of my music class, I got into the dean's list. And both semesters I got 4.0. So it was like really a sign from the Lord that I was in the right track to doing music. And this was important because my cousin CB comes to me and says, we're going to have a Christian club, and that I was going to be president. At first, I'm like, I'm not going to be president. I mean, you can do your Christian club. I'll attend it sometimes. I don't want really anything to do with it, you know? I was so scared. But when they're filling out the form for the college and applying for a Christian club and the Constitution, they were creating it. My cousin and my sister, my cousin's sister, my cousin, they were all in the dining room doing it, and they were pressuring me to be the president. I turned around and I said to the Lord, what am I going to do? And he said, do it. I will help you. So I told them, okay, I'll do it. One of the requirements in the Christian club, the college was requiring us was to be active, to show that we're really doing this club. So I talked to the Lord about it, and I was like, Lord, they're saying that we need to be active. What do we do? And the Lord told me, do a gospel fest. So I'm like, okay, we'll do a gospel fest. So it's really important to always check with the Lord for everything, because then he will tell you what's the next step so that you can end up realizing your dreams. Prior to this too as well, I had made a list, and it was in my book, my journal book. I don't know where that list is now. We've moved so much, I don't even know where it is. But I remember making a list that I want this husband to major in music, play the piano, and I want him to be healthy, meaning I don't want him to have any vices. I don't want him to love alcohol, smoking, drugs, gambling, and most importantly, I didn't want him to be a sports fanatic, because if you've been to one of our get-together with my family and it's sports time, whether it's baseball or whether it's basketball, it doesn't matter. It turns ugly. It turns very loud and it can turn very ugly. And I'm like, I don't want to be married to someone like this. So that was so important to me. And then I also said that I would like to be the baby in the family, and that I will only have one sister-in-law, and it's okay if both of his parents are alive. I want him to have both parents. And it's funny, I was saying I want him to be healthy. That means I want him to be lean and skinny. I don't want him to be fat. And I think I was seeing in my head that, how he's going to look. So I started saying all these lists. I didn't want him to be bald, but whatever. I wanted the Lord to choose my husband, so it didn't matter. So I'm like, it did so much, but at the same time, whatever you choose for me, Lord. That's what's more important. And I wanted him to be older as well, because the boyfriends I've had before him, they were always younger than me. I seemed to attract young boys back then, but I wanted him to be more mature. I wanted to be able to talk to someone like, more deeper things. And I just didn't feel like I was able to do that with my boyfriends. So it was through the Christian club that I met my husband. And what happened was, they told us in order for us to get funding, we had to go to the student government senators and present our cause, present our project to them. I went there, I was trembling, shaking, and I presented my cause. And now this is a secular college. So they heard me saying Gospel Fest and Christian choirs gonna be singing and all of that stuff. So they're like, oh, we don't have funding. We're actually used up, whatever. And I just really felt like, I'm like, now what? What are we going to do? So they said, though, they were nice enough to tell me, to suggest to me that I might want to go and see the faculty association. So it was an association that consisted of faculties and administrators. There's like a dozen of them there. So I presented my cause to them, shaking, and I told them what the Gospel Fest was about and everything. And it's funny, one man, one of the faculties says, I don't think religion should be mixed in with the college. And Christian singing and all of this stuff, gospel, blah, blah, blah. I was just quiet, and I was about to start speaking up, and I'm praying, and I have CB and another friend praying outside. We've been fasting for this. So I was about to speak up, and I had no idea what I was going to say, but I was just trusting the Lord to tell me what to say. But I didn't need to say anything, because this guy at the corner, at the end of the table, started speaking up. He was like, are you kidding me, man? You're telling me that the Gospel Fest has nothing to do with the school? It's about time these kids learn where the style of the music they're listening to started from. It started from the church. And it went on and on. Do you understand? Elvis Presley, Dolly Parton, they started from the church. How are these kids going to know about their music if we don't educate them? And so, make a long story short, I got my funding. One abstain, of course, is heathen. Anyway, I got my funding, got out of there. We're like rejoicing. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. So then, prior to that, Joe Shiroki, the guy that was end of the table, spoke up for us. We'll call him JS. He asked me, do you have a company that will do the sound for you? And I said, actually, we called one, and not really. And he said, go ask Mike Silva. And Mike Silva was my boss in college, and because I was doing part-time in the campus center. So I knew Mike. Joe said, he knows what company you should rent. So me and CB went to Mike, and I said that we're planning on having a Gospel Fest and we need sound system. And he hands me a calling card and with the name of the man that I was going to marry. And I looked at it and I saw Evan A. Cobb, and I got scared, and I handed it to my cousin. I was like, here, CB, call him. And it's so funny because all of a sudden I just remembered my grandmother prior to marrying my grandfather. She had seen a piece of paper of his name on the paper, and she crumpled it because she was scared. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I think I just got grandma's experience happening to me, but maybe this is just all my head. In my head, I'm like no, this is just a coincidence. This man's name has nothing to do with me. I'm just making this all up in my head. And so anyway, I gave it to CB, and he called the guy, and a couple of days later he calls me and says he wants us to come to the store. And I'm like, us? I'm like, why can't you go? I'm like, I'm not going. And he said, come on, Jenny, I don't know anything about musical instruments. You do. So I'm like, okay. And back then I drove the church van, so I had the 15-passenger van. So I went, picked up CB, picked up one of the church members because he played the guitar. I figure, maybe he can help us as well. I pulled up in front of the store and I told CB, okay, go ahead. I'm like, go, talk to the guy. And he's like, again, come on, Jenny. I don't know anything about musical instruments. You need to come with me. So get off my seatbelt, got off. And I'm like trying to go walk behind them. Then they go in behind me. I was like, oh my gosh. So I went to the glass door of the store and about to push in, I look up and the man had his head down and he looked up. And as soon as he saw me, he smiled so big. I was like so happy to see me. Now, here's the thing. I told the Lord, the man that I'm going to marry, when he first sees me, is going to think I'm the prettiest girl he's ever laid his eyes on. And this was important to me because I'm like, you know what? I need to feel pretty by the man that I'm going to marry, because I go out with these boys and my guy friends or boyfriends, and they never make me feel pretty. And you know, it's just really so important to me, and to feel pretty and to feel special. And even the first boyfriend, you know, that's one of the signs that he was wrong for me. He never really made me feel beautiful or pretty. And so that was important to me. And another thing too that I had said, and I said this to my cousin CB as I was driving, I said, my husband is going to have a short last name. It's going to start with a letter C, and it's just going to be one syllable. That's how short his last name is going to be. Because growing up, I had my maiden name was Ayutu. That's 3 syllables. And it had like, I think 6, 7 letters in it. Ayudtud. 7 letters. And I'm like, I want a short last name. So anyway, and I don't want it to be too far in the alphabet or too close to the first, because every time, you know, the class would be called, I'm almost always the first one they call, because my last name started with the letter A. So my husband's last name is going to start with the letter C. And this is what I said. So I'm at the store and I was so scared, like, to talk to anyone, an adult, about the Christian Club, because I felt like a little kid inside. And now I gotta pretend to be grown up. Even though I am grown up, I'm 22 years old, inside I'm like, I just feel like a kid. So I look up and he's smiling so big, like he knew me, like he was so happy to see me. I'll never forget that moment, because I'm like, oh, thank God, he's such a good guy. Thank God, he's nice. So I opened the door and I went close to him, to the counter, and he had his head down like this and he's shuffling papers. So it's like, let's pretend he's shuffling papers like this. Then he looked up, and now he's as serious as a doorpost. What the heck is this? Before he's smiling so big, and now he's so serious. And then he says to me, how may I help you? Now I got scared. I'm like, oh, he's mean after all. So I told him that we need a sound system for the Christian Club, the College of Staten Island. We're doing a gospel fest, and we've been given funding, and so that's what we're here for. He says, oh, okay. And then he's like, give me a minute. Put down his shuffling papers down, leaves the room. So I'm thinking to myself, what did I say wrong? You know, I'll never forget this moment. I'm like, what did I say wrong? And then he's gone for like, you know, long minutes. It's like over 5 minutes. Then he comes back with this beautiful lady. You know, just beautiful Italian lady, just makeup, beautiful hair. She must be like in like late 20s and early 30s. She was gorgeous. I was like, oh, so I guess he's married. I'm thinking to myself, I don't know why that should bother me, but I didn't care. Like, It's so funny. So this lady comes to me and starts talking to me instead. So now I'm like, oh, okay, I see. He doesn't like me. The guy doesn't like me, and I just felt already rejected by this guy. He goes over to that side and my left side, and this lady starts talking to me, and she says, she has such a big smile on her face. She says, "How may I help you?" She's like practically laughing. So I'll tell you now why. Unbeknownst to me, the day before, Anna, this lady, she's the owner's girlfriend. She asked this man, Evan, what kind of girl that he likes. And he told her. Hey guys, this is getting long, so I think I'm going to move the half of it, day 16. So I'll see you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.